This is a Neumann TLM103. I've had this microphone for 22 years. And I've tried it in a bunch of different configurations for vocals. I did review this microphone a few months back, and if you want to take a look at that, I get pretty in-depth as to my experience with this microphone. So I won't go real deep at all now. But what I'll say is this hasn't been my favorite or go-to vocal microphones. Not to say I haven't used it in the last 22 years for vocals. I have, and with some success. But I find that it's just got a little too much high-frequency energy for a lot of vocals. It's just, there's too much work to do post with this microphone. But that's just vocals. So, I've said as an acoustic guitar microphone, that high-end, top-end boost that this thing's got is pretty awesome, actually. It's beautiful on bass guitar, all of that. But what I'm doing now is a distance test, and I'm going to do it with all of my large diaphragm microphones. So this is the third one I do, this Neumann, and I'm kind of anxious to hear what it's going to sound like. And like the other two, the signal chain is going to be pretty simple. A microphone, a wire, a mic preamp. In this case, the Neumann 103, a wire into a warm audio tone beast. I'm going to use the same mic pre all the time. It's an API type circuit, set to clean. No EQ, a high pass filter is it. There's no filters on this mic at all, so I'm doing a high pass filter there. That's just to get the rumble out. So it's a pretty pure signal chain up into the converters. Now, once I get into the DAW, I'm going to process this more in the Chicken McNugget. So, and I think by knowing what I know about this microphone, I will probably have to do some processing. So this is a Neumann TLM 103 from 30 inches away. And I didn't bring my tape measure for this one, but I know that when I extend my arm like this, I'm still about 6 inches from the mic or so for 30 inches. And it is about 65 inches high, and the reason I know that is because I've measured it, and I want it slightly above my voice, pointing down. And this is from photographs I've seen mostly of folks doing some recordings, whereas a photographer went into the studio while they were doing a cut and took some photos. I can't say I've ever saw a film of this getting done this way. I'm sure some exist, but what really got me going on this was I saw a picture of Abba from, I guess, the 70s or 80s, real pop band, hit makers out the wazoo back in the 80s. This picture had to be around that time because it seemed kind of a vintage photograph. But they were singing into a microphone, and it was all similar to this. The microphone was a pretty good distance away from them. I don't know how much, but I'm guessing, something similar to this. And I don't know either that those takes that photograph depicted ended up on a record. But there is something cool about the Abba vocals on their records. They seem to have this beautiful, nice presence about them that some other, that kind of sets them almost apart in the way the vocals sound. Now, certainly going to give it to the two girls that sing in the band. But, it made me think, well, maybe they did, and maybe they were instructed to sing away from the microphone like that to get that clarity. I've tested this so far on 2 different microphones, and the results are pretty good if you want to check those out. And I've got some live examples of actually me singing into this microphone at this distance with all the processing. So that's what this is going to be. 30 inches away, I'm going to sing into the microphone from here, process it, mix it, and we'll come back and take a listen. Pershing Wells, Digital Sacalait Productions. Thanks. Make it a great day. Several days had gone by since the sergeant passed away. The private asked the nurse to pull the curtains and describe the world that day. The nurse said there was no window, just old curtains against the wall. And that old sergeant was legally blind. He couldn't see anything at all. He saw rows of shady oak trees in a busy city park, and children outside playing and laughing until dark. Months of daily stories kept the private entertained and helped the young man. So this was the TLM103 from Neumann, 30 inches away. I'm pleased with it. I think this microphone works better at a distance anyway. Typically I would get about a foot away from this microphone, and right now I'm 2.5 feet away, and that performance was 2.5 feet away. So I think the technique works. I've got a couple more mics I'm going to try out, at least 2 more. And I believe this technique works, and it doesn't get used much, but I believe you probably could get some mileage from it if you especially had a vocal that you want just clarity from. I think this is a good way to achieve that in the long run. So, Pershing Wells, Digital Sacalait Productions in Houma, Louisiana. Thanks, and make it a great day.